Parse fires, parse fires. Walk to the room, parse fires.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you the host of Purse First, one, the only, Ianto. Get away, Ianto!
Yay! Thank you very much. Welcome to Purse First and the first episode of Sally's shithole season sync of, with me, the magnificent, one and only Andrea.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and you put yourself here all by yourself, I have to say.
I don't know quite what you mean by that. The fact that I told you should do a podcast,
Yeah.
then you immediately said you should do it with me?
Exactly.
That wasn't my intention at all, but, well, maybe a little. No, not really.
Alright, since we have, only 14 contestants, we should probably get right into it with the first pair of the week, which is Harper versus Boy Named Queen.
Harper's song that she did from Zumi X's season. It was great. It was a little take on writing a letter to her lover or husband or someone in the war, set in World War II kind of era, judging by the way she set it up. And I really loved the way it was set up. She had the hair, her blouse sort of fit the era, the black and white giving us the feel. Even the lamp in the corner sort of gave the right feel for the setup. Harper always puts a lot of thought into her theming, and this was no exception. I really liked how she did it, and I liked how she transitioned the emotion 2/3 of the way through to go, actually maybe I'm not so happy with this guy anymore. And the little picture at the end, it's always lovely to see something more than just a sync, to see a story being told. And considering how short the song is, it was really well done, I thought. It always has lovely eye contact with the camera, which is something that's great, and wasn't scared to look away and look at her notes or the picture and stuff, just to keep us in the story as well. Critiques thing, I don't know. I mean, this is just a personal choice. I probably would have pushed the black and white a little more to be, it was sort of a gray white rather than a black and white, and I would have pushed the black and whites a little harder, a bit more of that 1940s feel. That's a personal choice. I don't think that's the end all be all at all. And it's a slow song, and it's a short one as well, so it doesn't need to be dynamic in motion or anything. It was sort of dynamic in the storytelling, but I do hope she does something with a little more energy if she goes to the next round and has Toni.
Yeah.
Toni is the person she has to sing, who she has to sing to.
Yeah, I actually agree. I've also written down that I would have loved to see like the blacks crushed a little more, pushing the highlights, so you get like a crispier look, because it feels.
I crushed the blacks more is exactly what I wrote.
Yeah, I think the only issue with the song is that all these really slow and gentle songs, they call for like less motion with the mouth, like less shaping, whatever. And it always, like, it makes sense, and I think Harper did it really well, and the sync was really tight, but it also always feels a bit, well, I don't want to say boring, but just, yeah, it lacks a bit of energy, which just has something to do with how the song is. So I agree with you when you say that you wish for her to show a bit more energy, especially since I feel like in the last competition we also had a lot of calm or sitting down, more like less energetic songs or syncs. So I would really love to see something like that. And
I mean, we don't need to see death drops all over the floor, but
no,
not seated. The next one, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Just a bit more energy. And I'm a huge fan of the storytelling, because that makes things so much more interesting to me when I have actually something to follow, and it's not just moving the mouth to lyrics. So I'm always enjoying.
Excellent at telling a story through it, and stop that bit we love.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always very simple. but it works. So yeah, okay. Well, B&Q is quite quite the opposite, because Crackhead Bink is back, and maybe I'm the only one, and I don't care, but I love Crackhead Bink. It's so much fun to watch. I
think we've all missed B&Q sinks. Boy Named Queen has really been missed on the sinking scene.
Yeah, my critique would be, I mean, as much as I appreciate the fuckboy version, the left one, I would have left him out, because really Fuckboy Bink doesn't seem to know why he's even there in the first place, and he was rather distracting instead of adding something to the sync. So, I mean, I don't know the song, so I have no idea who all these voices belong to, but it felt kind of random whenever Fuckboy Bink started singing, so I didn't really know, was he one specific character, or was he just randomly saying something, and that really confused me. So I don't think the left side was necessary, because it wasn't really a duet.
I think it's from the Disney film Hercules.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I think it hits for a certain age group and maybe certain demographic of Americans, probably. I think probably most of the American sinkers or viewers know the movie, but I think I've seen it once, but I don't recall specifically the scene that, you can tell from the lyrics that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I just have that, it's been said on as a comment, like, why put up a green screen and end up not using it, and please iron that thing. Just, that's all I have to say about the green screen. So you go ahead.
The green screen, like, listen, Boy Named Queen, was it something going to be added in post that didn't get added? Because it certainly seems an unusual choice of a backdrop for a sync if you're not going to do anything with it. There might be covering up something you don't want us to see on the wall, but it put up any old sheet or something rather than a green screen, because it just was very distracting. What I loved was how you started with one song and then you went on to the other song. You started with the same one that Harper had chosen, then went on to a different one. I thought that was nice. I love your ideas for your theming. It might not be full storytelling in the same method, but you certainly add more to your syncs than just simply syncing it. And they're usually funny, and that's what I love about them. They're always so animated, which makes you very easy to watch and makes it really interesting. I thought the coffee mug for the Grecian urn was hilarious. And yeah, a bit like Ianto said, I like the duet idea, but I'm not sure executed it really effectively, because sometimes you duetted with the chorus, sometimes the Hercules one on the left, chorus on the left, whomever that was, I guess it was both in a way. Sometimes you sing with the chorus with that, sometimes you didn't, and then sometimes you sang with the Hercules, you did the motions, and sometimes you didn't. So it was all just, felt not quite put together enough. I'd say, either go all in and do every line, or don't do it all and just do the motions, a charade on the other side, and make your muscles and show off like that. I like the idea, but I think it could have been maybe fleshed out a little bit more in the execution.
All right, then moving on to the next pair. The video, Trauma Queen's video, is not longer available.
Yeah.
Which means I have no critique for the video, because I have briefly skipped through it, as I skipped through all the videos when I first watched them. Well, watched. But I don't want to critique a video that I haven't fully seen. So if you have seen it fully, maybe you can say something about it. But yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm in the same position as you, is that I went to rewatch it more closely this time because it wasn't up at first when we were watching together in TogetherTube, and then because it was fairly late for me here, it was like or something. I waited till the next morning to watch and just sort of didn't watch it as closely as I would have today. I don't want to go away without giving some critique because Trauma Queen's new to our community, and I want to welcome them and say thank you for joining us because we love to see new sinkers, and you're a good sinker. What I did watch, it was really good. You had a lot of energy and you had a good sync. You've already been told a little bit about, I think, in some of the critiques about filming in landscape because then you just take up more real estate on the screen, so makes people watch you more. And overlaying, learn that skill. I learned it after my first week when I didn't know how, and if I can learn it, anybody can learn it. It's not that hard. Other than that, we can't really give you more feedback because you took your video down, which is really a shame because I think people do want to see these. They come back to them after time, and you hope you didn't take it down out of any feeling of inadequacy because it was great and you should be proud of it and keep it up. I do think that we should do something for people who come to the community, like maybe pin my beginner tips of that I put up last year of filming in landscape, overlaying, ask for help because we're all willing to help you be better, whether we know you or not. So that's all I really got to say on that right now.
Mikey, good. So I'm just a fan of that easy, cool sass. It always feels so effortless. I mean, Mikey has clearly found his style, and I think we can all say we enjoy a good Mikey sync, which at the same time is also my critique in a way, because we all know a good Mikey sync, and it feels kind of rude to critique this because Mikey's a great sinker. It's tight. He's got speaking is clearly hard. He's got his he he has got his expressions, but we know what we're going to get. And I'm not even saying do something else because it works and it's good and you shouldn't change a running system, but I just feel, while I'm always entertained and I love how Mikey managed to switch it up just when you're about to get bored or just when you think, I want a little more, I'm just curious to see what would look like if Mikey did something entirely different. And that's just, me wanting to see people out of their comfort zone. But obviously this is not a critique to this video, just in general something that I think would be interesting to see. And I also have to say that for some reason, once Mikey started drinking, it just reminded me of me when I'm on holiday and absolutely drunk with my tequila sunrise, staring at the beach, and all of a sudden the gay breaks through, which happens on occasion, and I felt called out, so that's good. It sounds weird, but I really enjoyed that. And yeah, it's solid, good, and entertaining sync, and it works. I mean, Mikey has figured out what works, and he's got that down.
Yeah, until you're saying you become Florida man when you start drinking.
Yeah. Apparently,
I think I have the same critique as you, and this is the critique that Ianto and Toni gave me in the first round of the last knockout competition. Of you always have a high standard, Mikey. Let's not get that wrong, but it's high standard is just become a little standard, if that makes sense. You're always on beat. You have great gestures. Do you switch it up just that little bit, out the drink and stuff? I liked how the drink came out after the line about the mini bar. So on point there. I liked the little touches that you had, like throwing your glasses. I hope they didn't break. I like the pinky up for being fancy while you're holding the drink and pouring it and stuff. Yeah, it's you don't want to mess with something that's not broke, as Ianto says, but also love being surprised. A surprise that can delight us always going to be something special. It's like how you bring that change up of the way through to keep the interest there. It was done slightly differently. Would or high standard, but less standard. Anyways, I look forward to seeing, if Mikey goes on, I look forward to seeing what he does with Jules, because I think will give a lot of interest in what happens. Some possibility for a few more props, or just to play around with a little bit more.
The third pair was Shutt versus Gino. Would you like to start with Shutt?
So, on 3, coming back in the house. It was a fun effect. It was cool. What I thought was really clever about it, effect of how you filmed that, is that with the weird colors, awkward angle at which you filmed wasn't as obvious. You were filming more or less straight up, looking down at the camera. You can give us the cool effect of dropping things on or near the camera as well. I thought it worked well by having be quite black with just a colored outline for all of you. Didn't know that's what was happening until you started dropping things, and so that was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. So I like how often has a new take on things that I wouldn't have thought of before. That was really good. I thought this was really strong. I thought the only suggestion would have been to have changed what was dropped. I did laugh when a couple things fell on your phone and it jolted around a bit, but it wasn't that much. But like maybe if you had different sizes, I don't know if they were coins or stones or exactly, but maybe if you had something like lighter, like confetti or petals or something that would take a little longer to fall down, it would add more interest, or slightly bigger objects or sand or something, just to then add a bit of variety there. Wasn't boring by the end, but just to, mix it up.
Yeah, I actually have the same thing written down. Like, I wish you would have used the effect a little more. Just some props, maybe even to, generate some illusions or something around you, just to switch things up so it actually doesn't get boring. And like the only thing that I really noticed was that apparently like the effect messed with the frame rate a bit at some points, but that's I don't think there's really anything you can do about that, so it's just something that I noticed, or maybe the sync was off at that spot, but we'll just blame the frame rate, because then it's not your fault. And yeah,
pretty good lip syncer. I wouldn't say I would have to blame it on the frame rate. The excuse to run with it if that's the case.
And I just in general, Shutt's like I think it's kind of impressive to have this effect that distorts the entire face and still show off expressions and emotions, which was really cool and really strong, and which shows that the face is really strong, which is important for a sync, and it works really well, because this could have just as well not worked at all by sentences. God.
I know, I totally agree. Like it could have been quite flat, or if the sync wasn't good with a lot of movements in the mouth, it would have been harder to let you were lip syncing. It was really clear, and I loved at the end how you just looked off into the distance. I thought that was really well for the end of the song.
Exactly.
Acting skills coming through.
Yes. Thank you for being able to talk when I am clearly not.
Talk to Britain.
I've already written down things. I technically just have to read it. Okay, yeah, Gino. So the entrance is on point. It was really nice. Also, that, I don't know, closet or whatever it is, looks really small. So, or you are taller than I thought you were. But on the other hand, you're Dutch, I think, and Dutch people are in general fairly tall. So maybe that's why this closet looks so small.
It looks small because it's off the ground. It's missing at least 2 or 3 feet off the ground. So yeah, it is small.
But who builds a door like that? Like
Spanish, apparently.
Yeah, I mean. But yeah, I love how the room is overexposed, but you yourself aren't. Like, your skin has a normal brightness, and that makes a really cool contrast and looks kind of soft, heavenly, brightish thing. I don't know, but it looks nice, and I really like that because it's an easy way to give yourself a clean background. And my critique would be that you always look kind of surprised when the lyrics start. Like, I can see that you're switching between thinking, I have to move and I have to sink. And it's one of the hardest parts, having the face perform while the body performs, and then keep track of the lyrics and also make it look like it's absolutely effortless and you just do that casually. I mean, usually performing in front of the mirror helps work on that, but that doesn't automatically mean it works in front of the camera, because obviously you can't see yourself anymore. But like, my advice would be, whenever it feels like you're completely overacting, it's just enough on camera. Because I can see when you think, or when you're focused on, dancing, and then when you're focusing back on sinking, and that I think is kind of unfortunate, because it's actually a good and tight sync in itself, but just these transitions between the different aspects, like, that are a bit rough. And I think if you work on that, you will get a lot better.
I would agree with the sync, that didn't miss the lines. You were on time with the lines, but you can see, that you're waiting for the line to start, right? You have to sort of get a little more into the song and sort of think, this is me singing it. And so rather than waiting for the line, when that line's coming, and your mouth is open to say it as it comes with the music. Be the only way I can give you advice for that, and practice, of course, in the mirror, or filming yourself. Love the opening to this. No one was expecting you to come out of the closet. That was so funny. I think we were all thinking it was some sort of like IV drip, or some sort of aim to hold something, and then when suddenly it popped open and there were doors, it was crazy. It was good. Always have interesting settings. I have to compliment you on that you always have it look so intriguing or beautiful wherever you are. And yeah, like Ianto said, getting that white so overexposed but yourself not. To me, your skills, that was really well done. Like the phone bit at the beginning when you're getting the numbers and stuff, but then that was the only prop you used, so kind of threw it away right at the start, like literally threw it away. So I would have either had a few more props, or held onto the phone to play with it a bit more, or something like that, because it was missing a little bit there. As queen of dumb dancing, I really enjoyed your dumb dancing. I thought how you filled bits without the lyrics was fun. If that was good dancing, well, bless your cotton socks, Gino, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that was just dumb dancing, really. And it was fine, but I would say maybe during the musical interlude near the end, it was a little draggy on the music bits. You should have maybe switched up the dancing, maybe gone a little crazier with it, really started on some disco shapes, or done something totally different, like started running from side to side, or picked up a prop at that point, just to keep that interest. This is where we're talking about 2/3 of the way through, when we're watching things, we sort of go, yeah, okay, I get the concept, know what they're doing, right? Okay. And the interest can sometimes tail off, and that was a point where you got to bring us back. You got to bring us back by doing something else or something more to capture our interest. And it was a little bit missing there. But all in all, love the song. I always will go for a disco tune, so good choice there, and enjoyed it overall.
Next up is Sean with No Competitor.
Yeah, do we know what happened to China?
I don't, but to be honest, I was kind of busy last week, so I didn't read a lot on Discord, so I don't really know. I just know about Theo, but I don't know about China.
Well, you and I are in the same position then. I don't know anymore. Toni would have all the hot tea about this. I have nothing to share. I don't even have lukewarm tea.
Yeah.
Tap water.
I have Spitzy, so that's good.
Oh, Spitzy. I miss Spitzy. It's a shame, China, because you always have an interesting ideas for your syncs, and are missed as well. It would be good to see you being in the competition again. This.
Yeah.
But on to Sean. So it was an interesting concept with the double screen overlay, and with one of the screens, or one of the voice people saying the lyrics and the other one sort of reacting to it. And I liked that effect. Thought the lighting was good. I like the redness on it. And I also am glad that you replaced the sync, because this one was like, you didn't change anything. It's just the overlay was off on the first one that you had uploaded that I had watched, the Together Tube. And I know that can happen. It all looks perfect when you do it, and then suddenly YouTube or exporting or something, it goes wrong. So I'm glad you fixed it, because it was much easier to watch at this. Having said that, I think it was a little hard to see the sync at points because of the double exposure effect. Sometimes your mouth was over a dark part of the other screen, so you couldn't really see what you were singing. And while it was a good concept, it didn't go anywhere. It was really one note in the idea. It was, I wanted to say, it was balls to the wall right from the start, so you had nowhere to go. But, it was a heavy amount of emotion right from the start, and so you didn't leave any room for yourself to go harder or more, and neither did it feel like it dipped. And that's partly due to the song. It doesn't change energy, but you have to do something then to change the energy or change the dynamic. I love it, just so that it's not one tone all the way through.
You actually just said everything that I've written down as well. It's really, really unfortunate that it's so hard to see your mouth shape at times. I feel like if you would have put like an more even light on your mouth, like the red is fine, but there's always a shadow on your chin or the lower part of your mouth, and that makes it incredibly hard to see, which is unfortunate. I feel like the visual idea overshadowed like the rest of the sync. So it was like, I have this idea and that it would look cool, but then it went nowhere, which I think is unfortunate. And also, this is one little thing, and I know you're not new, so I don't think you would do it, but technically, since we usually can't see your eyes, you could have cheated. Oh, I'm throwing away stuff. You could have cheated, and I mean, again, I'm pretty sure you didn't, but just, make sure that we can somehow at least see your eyes and have your actual face for at least the majority of the sync. And yeah, but basically everything I want to say, you've already said.
Congratulations, Sean. We look forward to seeing what you do in the next.
Adrena versus Beep. And I've just realized that I haven't actually written down anything useful for Adrena. I've just written down, yeah, that's my kind of shit. And this is me saying, this isn't too much. This is just the right amount of editing. more of that. I love it. It's the perfect video for my attention span. Do not tone it down. Give me more. But probably nobody else feels that way. But this is me telling you that this is nice. I loved it. It kept me entertained. I always wanted to see what kind of effect you would do in the next shot. It's called that way. I mean, it was a fluid move, a transition between them. But still, like, I was entertained and I really enjoyed it. And you went completely wild with the editing, and I love that. I mean, obviously I do. The only thing is, if you do that kind of heavy editing, I would have loved to see cleaner key. And I know it's incredibly hard. I've spent hours hating myself trying to get a clean key. But especially when we see you in the background, it's just maybe try to... So this is me trying to explain things in English when I don't know any of the words in English, but...
Maybe you can first explain what you mean by a cleaner key for those who are not so technically minded.
Oh, yeah, the green screen, when you erase the green, that's basically a key. You can do a chroma key or a color key. There are different kinds of techniques, but it's basically getting rid of the one colored background. And you have a very sharp edge, and hair is horrible to do, but also around your clothes and your fingers, there's also like a very harsh edge, and especially the background Adrenas have a lot of green still around them, and sometimes you can circumvent that by basically cutting more into the image itself and then giving it a slight feather. So you get a nicer edge, and also there's usually an option to reduce the so-called spill. That's basically the green color that's still surrounding you. And it's kind of hard to get right, but I just wish you would have spent, I don't know, like maybe half an hour more cleaning up the key, because it would have made it look so much better and more professional. But again, this is like, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's a lip sync video, but yeah, that's all I can say, because I really loved it. I loved the energy, I loved the editing, and I mean, maybe it was good because I was so distracted by enjoying everything that was going on that I didn't really pay any attention to whether you knew the words or you. But I mean, knowing you, it was probably tight and probably very good, because I didn't notice anything off-putting. But yeah, I really loved it. Your turn, Andrea.
Oh yeah, well, it's Adrena. I mean, she's so talented, that bitch.
We hate her.
It's not like she's, pretty, just can dance, can only edit, like, does it all. I really liked it. Thought it was clever. Wasn't watching the background Adrenas that closely. Obviously, you can tell my lack of technical skills. I just went, wow, that's cool. And loved it. It was simple. I thought it was simple enough for what you did with it. Obviously, it's far beyond my skills, but it was well done in its simplicity. It wasn't, over the top. It wasn't, so busy that it was too much to watch. I thought it was well done to keep interest. I liked your Boo Boo Couture top. If you're not calling yourself Boo Boo Couture, because my other friend has also a tailoring company called Boo Boo Couture. She wouldn't mind you stealing that idea. Me. Really liked it. Really loved the colors, the choices. It had so much energy, and the colors with the energy together. Like, you didn't pick muted colors, which made sense. But if I'm grasping at straws for something to critique, I'd say maybe a bit of meaning with it, not just dancing and singing. I do know that is a strength of yours that you just chose not to do in this one. I know that you can tell a story. I look forward to seeing that if you go on to the next round in future videos. So, not expecting to change what you do. I just know that know you can do it. It's just it was missing on this one. Not missing because this video was so full and joyous to watch.
All right, then heading on to Beep. So first of all, despite it being like isolation time and quarantine and everything, and nobody's going outside, so like kudos for you doing this outside, and you don't look uncomfortable for even a second. And I know I never, like, my things that I did in secret in public were really tough to do, and you can tell. So I have no idea how you did this, and really, I think most of us who ever synced in public know that it's not that easy. You need to find the courage to do it.
Right.
So yeah, I really love that. It was fun. You showed a lot of energy during a sync. You were dancing around, moving around. There was something happening. Obviously, there wasn't like a story or anything, but that wasn't the kind of sync that you wanted to do. My only big critique would be that with all the movement, it's kind of hard to see your actual sync, because you are like if your head moves around that much, the camera can't really keep your mouth crisp and sharp and in focus all the time. And then, obviously you're turning away a bit and you're getting smaller and you're coming closer to the camera again and everything. And that makes it a bit hard to see if you actually know the words at times. And I was wondering, I don't know, maybe Andrea, maybe you know this, is the camera broken, or was that just something weird in front of the lens? Was that an effect?
It's on the lens, I think.
Okay, because, I mean, if it's broken, then obviously you can't change it, but please just make sure if it's not broken that it's clean and you can actually see, because it makes it really hard to see that part of the screen or like the video.
I'm kidding. I don't think anybody jizzed on the screen. I think it was.
Yeah. Well,
I assume it had maybe been raining earlier, or a bit of heat or something, and that was just left over, got missed in the filming. Obviously, that's a simple thing to correct in the future, but when you're trying to get a take and you don't want to do it 20 times in downtown, it's something that you have to live with. It was a bit distracting, especially at the start, because your mouth was right where part of the lens was blurred. But it's forgivable offense. Just next time, check the lens every time before you film to make sure it's cleaned off. Oh, but your look, that hair! God, that hair's so long. And the dress, great silhouette, and huge heels. I thought that was great for a song, strutting out, huge heels. They're definitely not training heels for a drag queen. You can tell you know what you're doing, that you are a drag queen, because you were owning it in that public space. Same as Ianto, I've done this in public, and it's really hard to do it full energy. One were either very late at night or very secret locations, and I was still nervous. And there you are, middle of the day, going about in full face, hair, stills, giving us full energy. It was fantastic. I really loved it. I thought the energy was great, and it fit the song. Love the crawling bit. I thought that just really added to it. The camera work was good. I agree that occasionally you were a little far to see the lip sync itself. However, I feel that sync was good enough in the other bits that I wasn't bothered by that, in the sense that believe that you knew it. It wasn't like the camera was going away during a bit where you weren't so sure of the words. I wasn't so bothered by that, but I could see how others might feel it that way. All in all, it was really good. Kudos to you for doing it in the middle of town. I wonder how many takes you took, or if it was a one-take wonder. If it was a one-take wonder, it was excellent. And It was more than one take. Well done you for sticking it out in what looked like freezing weather in that outfit. So, in all, I really loved it. There wasn't a bit of any theme to it, but again, as Ianto said, it wasn't really meant to have a theme. It was starting out and showing us what you can do. Good.
Okay. Then we have Toni, who has, again, no competitor. And I'd like you to start because all my notes are trash talking Toni, so maybe you want to give some appropriate feedback.
I didn't prevent myself from doing the same. First thing is a bit of trash talk, and the 35-second intro is very Toni.
Yes.
Before he gets into the bloody actual song. But I like this. I thought it's really pretty in that dress, and your makeup always look great when you put in the effort, Toni. No, that sounds shady as fuck, actually. You always look good when you do your full face. Let's put it that way. How's that?
And only then.
No, that's not what I mean. I love you, Toni. You know I love you. Your lip syncing and all your theater training, an ability to hold people's attention so well that, you know, it's hard to look away from you on screen. In fact, I would say almost to a deficit at one point, because you have gum in your mouth, because I couldn't stop looking and wondering you had gum. I thought I saw it, and then just the way you were holding your mouth at points, I felt like you had gum, but maybe it wasn't, and maybe I was just getting, you know, deep into looking directly at you. So if you didn't have gum, my apologies for thinking that. If you did have gum, what the fuck are you thinking? Come on. Put all that effort into getting dressed, coming up with a theme, putting on a full face, and then having gum in your goddamn mouth. Again, apologies if you didn't, but if you did, what I mean. Great camera work. Thought it was really, you know, it was well done. It was kept high, so you weren't looking at what's on the ground or what you're stepping around or anything. Not that there was so much, but just to say it kept you in center frame. And you're another one who's good at theming, and I love the simplicity of the theme. Really fit with the song choice, and it was beautiful, and it was really sweet. I really loved it.
So I've written down in caps lock, disgusting. We don't support people with happy relationships, okay? It's not okay. So, okay, we get it. 35 seconds intro of you telling us how good. No. I also wrote down, is this how American mailboxes work, or did Toni send the letter to herself?
Apparently they do work that way.
That's interesting. Okay. But I prefer the universe where Toni just made a love song to herself and sent herself a letter. I miss you so much, just to open it up and think, not
beyond belief, is
I
it?
miss
It's
you
really
too.
not.
I mean, but yeah, all the bullshit aside, Toni knows how to sing. I mean, it's tight, and it's obviously that the emotions are there and everything. Yeah, as you've said, the theater pays off. I always feel like when Toni dresses up, it always feels like she's about to burst into Oprah. And that's not a bad thing.
Opera or Oprah?
What?
Opera or Oprah?
Opera. Oh, the singing thing, and not the
Not Oprah Winfrey.
Not Oprah Winfrey. But oh well, no, the singing type.
Opera.
Opera. Okay. Well, but that's not a bad thing because I love that. And love me a good opera. Opera. Oh God.
Opera.
We'll get that.
Oprah Winfrey too. She was great in The Color Purple.
I have not noticed any gum.
Be delusional. This is very much within the realms of possibility.
But it's also very possible that Toni had gum in. I mean, it's Toni. So we may learn the truth. We maybe will. You know what I'm trying to say. Maybe she'll tell us.
No.
God.
Like, we can stop Toni from telling us what she thinks of our review.
So yeah, I don't really have anything productive to say because I always felt like bullying Toni whenever I try to come up with something proper to say. But you can sync, and this is a solid sync. This is a good sync, and you always manage to kind of manipulate the people by making it like personally emotional, which always works well. And I mean, you did that by winning, and I did that with winning because I learned that from you. So it's a good trick and it works. But I've seen through you.
Get by on our talent, Just kidding.
Who knows?
We'll get by on my talent. Anyways, I agree. It's often a personal note with Toni, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No,
but it does occasionally feel perhaps emotionally manipulative.
Yeah, I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. I mean, it worked for me as well, so I'm not gonna complain about it. But it's definitely something that I've noticed that if Toni does an emotional song, it's usually with a personal story, which is not a bad thing. It's just something that I've noticed.
It's a good plan, actually, because it's here for the audience who know you, right? Too, it makes it more real to you. So why not?
Yeah. Okay, the next pair, Alex versus Rhoxas.
I want to say quick. I hope Theo's family's doing okay. I know that's why I didn't join in because a bit of a stress with COVID-related was happening. So I hope everyone's okay.
Yes.
You and your family are loved.
Most definitely. Agree with that sentiment. All right. Would you like to start with Alex?
Okay. Disclosure, Alex contacted me and said, I want some help. Not that Alex needs help, but just sometimes you get stuck and you're not quite sure what direction to go with, and it hurt to have somebody to bounce a few ideas at you and you think, oh, okay, I like that. Actually, no, I don't like that, but it makes me think of this or whatever. And that's sort of what we did before. Advice was to think of what Rhoxas would do, either do it better or do the opposite. That's what I did when I was in my head-to-heads, was think of, okay, so what are they going to be good at? So what do I have to do better? And Rhoxas, as we all know, is a in-screen king. And so I suggested maybe going outside would be an idea. And I thought it was a good idea. I thought it came together really well. I thought it fit the song. Tom did a good job of filming for her first time. It was excellent. I don't know whether she has a natural talent to it or whether you had that out to microsecond, but it went well. But really good movements, which fit the song and the Florence vibe. And of the double shawl with the gold on one side and the dark velvet or whatever was on the inside. I also really liked the color shift at the first chorus because it went from a little bit subdued, full color, which I thought was really good. Just hang on a second. Sorry, had to belch. Didn't want to do that straight into your ears. And great energy, lovely hand movements. Liked the change in the distance with the songs during the song, where you came closer and then went further away and so on. Maybe a little bit of what we said to Dr. Beep Beep about sometimes it might have been slightly difficult to tell if you knew the words, but again, it didn't bother me because I felt you knew the words. In close-up bits, I had no doubt you knew the words, so I wasn't feeling like it was going far away, hide the fact you didn't know the words, because I felt you did know them. Critique, I would have preferred if you'd filmed a little later in the day. I know that's being kind of fussy because people have lives and you can just film, especially when someone's helping you. You have to film when they are agreeable to it. But I thought if you'd filmed later in the day, you would have had a bit of a softer shadow. I think would have just added to that ethereal look to the whole thing, which would have prettied it up even more. However, I am glad you switched position from where you started, because in the start your face was in full shadow, and although it was easy enough to see for the syncing, it was very distracting as a visual person to see you in so much shadow. So it was good that you turned and you were in far more direct sunlight after that. Other than that, again, maybe a little bit of a theme. Going through it, I thought it was really good with the dancing and the syncing and the setting. But maybe think of a theme to give us for sync in the future. Make it to the next round.
Yeah, I have to completely agree with everything you've just said. I love a supportive mum, and yours is clearly more talented at holding a camera than mine. The only question I have is, how many takes did you ruin by giggling, or is that just my mother who can simply not look at me while doing a sync without bursting into tears just from laughing at me? But that's beside the point. I love the color scheme.
Is this a therapy session, or is this?
This is clearly a therapy session. What do you think this is? Now, I love the color scheme. I really love the nature and the colors and the mood, and just I constantly had the urge to take my own camera and like shoot this with you, just following you with the camera, and maybe just have nice afternoon sun, but also like a little fog on the ground, and just have really nice color grading in the end, and then just use this as the official music video. That's how much I enjoyed the overall thing. I feel like it looks really nice wherever you are. These, I don't even know what to call these bushes, tree things around you, but they look really cool and they fit so well. And so I think it was a perfectly chosen spot, and it works so well with the song and the entire mood of the song, and you dancing with your clothes and everything, and obviously your hair. It fits and it feels so good. I really enjoyed watching you. But yeah, also, I just feel like we have a lot of these kind of light-hearted, is that ethereal? Is that the word? Dancing?
What word?
Ethereal, kind of, these, I don't
know. Like as in thoroughly?
No, this kind of spiritual, but not in a religious way.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, it always feel like we have a lot of those things from you, and
I know what you mean for Alex, yeah.
And yeah, and just
witchy vibe.
Yeah, just give us something else. And I wish I could say like an example of what I would love to see from you, but I'm not creative enough on the spot. But yeah, just maybe not something like this. Just to see a bit more of variety, because you know how to do this, and you are doing it extremely well. And I'm pretty sure with your skills, you could do something completely different just as well. And I think that's, if you get surprised, this is the same thing we've already said a couple of times. If you always do the same thing but do it well, it unfortunately becomes less surprising. So yeah, I think it was a great sync. I really enjoyed it. It gave me the urge to actually turn this into like a really crisp and professionally done thing, just because I think it would be perfect for that. So
that shade?
No, but I thought,
it didn't do a professional one.
No, I mean, where you can cut and where you can use different kind of angles and stuff, because obviously unless you have really expensive equipment and know how to use it, it's really hard to do really smooth movements all around someone and follow someone and stuff, and not get light in the way. You have to block the light at certain angles so it doesn't get into the camera, and you don't create shadows and everything. So you
don't all have scrims and gimbals,
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't want to use the words, so because I don't know. Who knows what scrims and gimbals are? But yeah.
I had a lucky stab in the dark at them.
Yeah. Exactly. So obviously, I mean, neither do I, unfortunately, but I would have loved to. This is what I imagine while watching it. I have like a second movie playing, thinking, oh my God, if this would be a professional music video or like the official music video, which I feel like would fit, this is what it would look like. So that's what was going on in my head. All right. Your turn for Rhoxas.
Oh, I started with Alex. Your turn with Rhoxas.
Oh, God. Okay, so I have to admit that I kind of lost my train of thought while watching Rhoxas' video, and it just says, I can't, that damn dangly thing dangling, Rhoxas, this is me at 4 a.m. when I should sleep but rather dance in front of my mirror. This gives me 90s home video instructions. Oh my God, this damn dangly thing dangling. So this might not be the most productive and constructive critique I've ever given.
Oh, God.
I don't even know. Like, a part of me really loves it, and a part of me doesn't actually like it. And I think it's really hard to tell why, because you are the god when it comes to green screen and using it and creating this weird, well done, but also slightly off, and not in a negative way, but in a, this like weird kind of hilarious kind of things that I think are quite interesting. But this is not my favorite of yours, because I know, I mean, the dancing, it's too good to be, purposefully bad at times. But then again, it always feels like this kind of bad instruction home video. And I couldn't quite decipher if you want to mock dancing or dance properly, because there were parts where you moved really, really well, and then others where it felt like you wanted to do the opposite. And since I know that you know how to move, I wasn't quite sure what the concept was. And yeah, I wasn't sure which story you were telling, because at some points I was like, you want me to laugh at you, I mean, in a good way, and at other times it felt like, oh, maybe he doesn't, because this is supposed to be like really good. And I hope this comes off not insulting or anything. I just try to explain my feelings. Sorry. So that was kind of confusing to me. And I forgot what the name of the animal in the upper left corner is in English, but I was kind of confused as to why it shows that exact background.
Go see what you're looking at.
Wait, it's jellyfish.
Oh, okay. Or an amoeba or of some sort or something. Yeah. Well, not an amoeba, but yeah, some sort of sea creature, like a jellyfish.
Yeah, so that was kind of confusing, because it was absolutely not related to anything, and it was like, oh, I just Googled this image, but again, this isn't something major. It was just something that I found very confusing. But yeah, that would be my messy critique.
I think my critique, and then I'll give what I was thinking of while you were giving your critique. Personally, I loved the belly dancing shorts, Rhoxas. I thought they were spectacular, and I think you should wear them for all occasions, not just lip syncing, but just life in general. And if you're having Zoom calls where nobody can see you below the waist, I think you should stand so everyone can, because they're so amazing. Your hips.
Agreed.
Such a good dancer, and this had such it felt polished. It was really balanced with the motions. If you did the arm up, left arm in front of you, then you also made sure to do left arm up and right arm in front of you. So it was very organized and good. You obviously put some thought into it, or it just comes naturally from experience. It was good. I can sort of see Ianto means about meant to be funny or not, and I'll come back to that. But I'll say that I thought the dance energy was good. I thought maybe your sync energy could have been more. Like, the chorus is quite she has full round, full-bodied sound. Like, she's not shouting, it's not super loud, but it's really big in the mouth. I felt that you could have gone bigger in the mouth. It was missing because it is a change in the energy level of how she sings it. Even if it's not a change in the volume, it's a change in the energy. And so I felt we gone harder on that. I think where it comes back to maybe what you were saying, Ianto, is I felt your eye contact was a little all over the place. It felt like maybe you were trying to remember what you were doing next in terms of coordination motion. So it was the opposite of Gino, who sort of free-flowed the dancing and looked like he was thinking about the lip sync. Looked like you were free-flowing the lip sync, but that wasn't any kind of issue. Could have been more, but it wasn't any kind of issue. But that you were thinking about what your next dance move was. And maybe you should have leaned into it harder, one way or the other. Given us a very serious one, of course, we would have thought was hilarious in of itself, or gone really wacky, which I know you can also do. And just maybe it was a little bit between the two, with it being polished in one way, but not having the eye contact that I would expect someone of your experience for lip syncing, because it looked like you were sort of like off to the side thinking about, okay, what comes next? What am I doing next? Also looked at worn out, shall I say? So if this was your probably 787th take.
Yes, and the third version of this sync.
Yeah. Yeah, and the second song that you had done 400 takes to as well. It just shows your level of dedication, but it maybe was showing also then a little worn out by it all. Yeah, I'd say just lean harder into your strengths, for it, and don't think so precisely about it. Let yourself enjoy it, because we enjoy it. I love seeing your syncs, and I was glad that you joined the competition, because it was really fun to watch. And your little end scene bits, the Homer Simpson, and that's how I feel too. Like, yeah, I didn't tell you to stop, because it was really good. It's really good to see you sing. Just get into your strengths and have fun with it a little more.
Thank you for being able to put my thoughts into words. This is very helpful, and the reason I don't do this on my own. So at least one of us is helpful and giving constructive feedback.
It's all me. It's all me. That's the only reason it's happening. It's all me.
Yeah, it obviously it is.
Just channeling Toni there as best I can.
Yeah. So we get to the last two, and I really have to say this entire note document that I have open here shows my level of attention. That's like, it's getting shorter and more chaotic the later it gets. So I'm already sorry for the last two. If you thought Rhoxas was chaotic. So Marcella, I still don't really know.
Marcella, I think.
Yeah, Marcella versus Kayden. So Marcella, I wrote down that I wish I would have seen that episode of Desperate Housewives, because it kind of feels like what Desperate Housewives would turn into if they would be put into quarantine. And I enjoyed that. I also love watermelons, and I just want to know what was the occasion that made you buy all this? Like, did you buy this for the sync, or were you just randomly waking up one morning and thinking, oh, you know what I don't have? An entire watermelon outfit. Oh,
I know. She said in the notes to the video, actually.
Oh.
She had a bunch of watermelon napkins that she was looking to use. And I don't know what came first, up with the outfit and then the concept, or the concept and adding the watermelon napkins. But she said a friend had thanked a friend for the idea, so I'm not sure what was the spark for the idea. between the friend's idea and having watermelon napkins. A beautiful thing.
Yeah, it looked amazing. It was really well done. It was absurd. Yeah, that's the right word. And I loved it. I enjoyed it. I mean, you obviously know very well how to sing. It's tight. You have expressions, emotions. It's always a bit quirky. I kind of feel like this character could have been played by Zooey Deschanel. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not. You have to decide that for yourself. I really enjoyed the outfit. It also looks like it was a lot of work. Or maybe it's not a lot of work for someone who knows how to do this kind of thing, but it looks like a whole lot of work to me. I love just the hair, the makeup, it all fits. And I mean, it's not necessarily like a elaborate story, but there's something happening. It's fun and it's light, and I really enjoyed it just because it's something that's like, it's these stupid ideas that are so fun to watch because you're just asking yourself, how did that happen? Like, I want to know how we got there. And yeah, it was entertaining to watch. And I can't really say anything negative about, the sync itself, because we all know you're really good at that.
Well, I can. No, I'm just kidding. No, I agree. It was, I love the outfit and the little hat and the earrings, really, all the details thought out into it. It was really clever. Were they also made out of napkins? I'm curious. Like, did you origami that little hat and earrings? Did you just happen to have them around waiting for it?
They look like they were also folded. I'm just looking at it.
Yeah. I thought it was great energy. I thought it was funny. I love that your essential shopping for that week included a watermelon, and just because the movie's allowed to buy everything in the shop, rules only used the one watermelon. So well done you for being practical, frugal with your watermelon cutting skills. It was cute. It was just a fun little thing. That's what I liked. It wasn't a heavy story or theme, but it gave us something more than just syncing to the song. I would say, as good as your sync always is, you're really sharp on the words. At points near the end, I noticed that sometimes words were left off, like there was a sort of chorus and repeat the main singer, and sometimes you sang the chorus and then with the main singer, and then sometimes you sang with the chorus and left off the main singer, or vice versa. I remember specifically, but there was a little bit at the end. So I'm only picking you up on it because I know how good you are, Marcy. It's your first rodeo, so something I'm sure you could, if you'd had a few watermelons, you could have probably done another take and had that issue at all. So from the angle of cutting to the watermelon, the words were occasionally lost, but I wasn't so worried about that because I knew that you knew them, as I've said before. Didn't feel like you were turning away to hide from it. It was just the angle was occasionally awkward, but you play with the space you have, and generally I thought it was good because I did like you being in and out from the camera because it just gave it, kept it a little more dynamic. More was happening on the screen that way. All in all, it was good. The watermelon outfit's so cute. that was fun. I do love your quirky syncs where like showing off your funny side, and I hope we get to see more of that as the tournament progresses if you continue through.
All right, so Kayden.
Last but not least.
Exactly.
Shall I start,
yes.
Or should you? Okay. A beautiful mug. Wow, good face on. You always paint well, but that was really pretty, the one you did. I love the nod to Sally as well with the turban on, because Sally always wears so many turbans. That was really clever. And also with the draping of the towels and stuff, which both was a nod to Sally and fit with the theming of of raining men in your shower. So it was all really clever in that sense. I liked it. Song itself is, I mean, dance to this drunk in any party, but it's not really one of my favorites. However, you think for what me is a fairly shade song, I think you did something original with it, and I thought that made it good. Really loved your back bends. More of them. That was very impressive. Like, honestly, I was wondering if there was someone in the other half of the bath pushing you back up, because you were well over. That was impressive. And I saw someone had mentioned that they lost a few words on the back bend, and normally I wouldn't mind that because I think the energy of the back bend was worth it for doing the stunt. However, where it was is right at the point where the energy builds in the song, where it is in the middle or something. I can't remember. Please don't listen to me sing. And it would have been good to capture all those words because that is where the energy is building. So losing that, you lost a little bit of the climb to the climax there. It's hard to know that until you've filmed it all, and it's just a minor point maybe to keep in mind for if you're going to do something like that in the future, to make sure try out the stunt on its own rather than filming the whole sync and see what it looks like. And maybe you can sort of think, okay, I can bend over to here, or I have to pull up to that angle, people can see me or something. I like the color change to the black and white, and I like the addition of the lighting. I would say it was slightly, despite this though, it was slightly flat. I'm putting most of that blame on the song, despite having the rise in the tempo and the feel. It just doesn't go anywhere for me. I thought you did a good job with it, but it's hard when you don't have a lot of space to film in, and I know I can't remember your circumstance, but I think you might be stuck at home where you don't quite have the freedom filming that you might otherwise have. I get it, but it felt like it just needed a little bit more than just a color change and the lightning, turn on the shower or something, or maybe not rip down your shower rail. That could that has consequences. But just done something a little more, just hitting to up the tempo. That point, where that point is, obviously, because we've been talking about it throughout, where you want to keep the attention. And you did something, but I felt it maybe just needed a little bit more from you within the sync. All in all, I loved it. I really liked your look. I liked you cleverly added Sally back to the sync. I thought it was a good theme.
Yeah, I have to agree again. I am so happy that you didn't choose a slow, sad song, because I know you're comfortable with them. But this one, you showed so much positive energy in your face, in how you held yourself, how you moved. Sorry?
Sorry, my dog started barking at the same time as I said that.
Yeah.
Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Hang on. I'll get rid of her. Just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey! Good. Oh, come on. Get out of here. No, not into my...
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrea's dog.
By Hera. She was always smiling. I love the positive feel for it, with a little bit more energy than the sad, slow songs.
Yeah, because
yes,
I think I critiqued that before. I'm pretty sure I did. So yeah, I'm really happy to see that, and I want more of that really buzzing, positive vibe, because it's so much fun and there's so much energy. I also agree that it would have been really nice to go beyond that restriction somehow. I mean, obviously a shower is difficult, especially if you have this angle which shows like the shower curtain, and you can't really reach out because there's a wall and a curtain, and you only have the back and forth movement and just slightly hand movement. But yeah, that was kind of unfortunate because it kept the entire sync on more or less the same level. So I think that's something that could have been improved. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fog overlay because I feel like it made the entire video look even more flat because it didn't blend that well. It was like obviously just a layer on top and did not, kind of melt into the entire thing. I know what you try to do with it, and I like the idea, and I like that it gave a frame to the entire video, but I wasn't overly fond of the execution. But that's just me complaining about editing stuff. So that was.
What would you suggest instead? Would you
I mean,
if you'd done the same thing, what would you have done differently?
That's the problem. I mean, I would have, and that's something I can't actually ask from Kayden, because I would have gone into After Effects and created a fractal noise fog effect that basically and then layered it, so there's a background one that I would have blended into the video so it actually looks like it's there. And maybe if I would have been really, really fancy, I would have keyed out my body and my arms so that I can actually put it in the background behind me, and then I would have put up another layer of fog that is above me. So that's something I can't ask from Kayden, and I would never do that. But it's just, so I'm not saying, yeah, I don't like that, I don't understand why you didn't do this technique that takes like an entire week to do, and you should be able to do that. But
do what crackhead Ianto won.
Yeah, do what someone who has nothing else to do than do this kind of shit. No, but there are maybe, I don't know, I maybe would have lowered the opacity a bit or tried a different blend mode or something, because it was just a bit too strong in my opinion.
I was a bit heavy-handed, I'd agree.
Yeah. I did enjoy the artificial camera movement because it was on point with the beat and everything. Those lightning strikes, I love them. They made me laugh, not in a bad way, but I really enjoyed that. I kind of like it would have been extremely silly, and I'm glad you didn't do it. But a part of me hoped for images of men raining down and like. I was waiting for it because a part of me would say that this would have made it perfect. It would have made it ridiculous. And so I'm kind of glad that you didn't do it, but I would have loved it. But most people probably would have thought it was stupid. But yeah.
I wouldn't have done that technically. I would have just used the inflatable man that I have and had somebody throw that over the top of the shower curtain, like literally rain down on me.
I would have
Draining
loved that
one
too.
man.
Oh, I would have loved that too. Yeah. All right. But yeah, that's it from me, I think.
That's it from me.
Good. We're through. So
We're all thoughts?
So yeah, we will hear each other next week again, I think.
No, I'm not going anywhere. Surely.
Yeah, we can't, literally. And thank you very much for doing this with me, and thank you very much for making me do this again.
Thank you for asking me, and thank you for agreeing to do it.
Yes, and all of you listening, I hope it was okay, and I hope the critiques were helpful, and I hope you enjoyed the tournament, and I'm excited and looking forward to next week's videos.
If anything we said the wrong way, if you think, the hell are they on about, feel free to ask for clarification, or if we said something offensive by accident, well, fuck you. No, just kidding. No, please let us know what's wrong. You can correct it.
Just insult us. on Reddit. But I'm a mod, so I'll just delete it anyway. But yeah, no.
Cry. Old woman cry.
Yeah. No. Okay. I hope we didn't hurt anybody's feelings.
Very nice to everybody except Toni, who always deserves it.
Exactly. So Toni, if you have something to complain about, no.
You, Toni.
All right. Until next week.
You all.